And welcome everyone to Nerd TV for a full throttle sim racing Martin Sports Truck Series race to start off the 2023 C, aka the playoff season, is here. We're at the 1 mile Milwaukee Mile track, and you guys haven't been here in a while. I think 2009 was the last race before this year rolled around in the real life. So welcome back, Milwaukee. It's a really old, ancient track, and these guys are going to tear it up tonight here to open up this playoff season. 10 races, and if you look at the track temp right now, it's just a dead even 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 78 in the skies. So I would imagine that track temp will drop down as this race continues. 40% humidity, partly cloudy, and 9 mile an hour at a short track. Forget about it. Throw it out the window. Does not matter. It's going to be a great race regardless here. My name is Jeremy Stanley, aka J Stan, aka J Swifty, wherever you find me on the socials. And Jason Rockefeller is to my right side tonight. How are you this Wednesday?
Good evening, Jeremy. I'm doing just fine, man. I'm ready to watch some racing here from the Milwaukee Mile, a track where we haven't been to since 2009, which you were correct. In the NASCAR Touring Series, obviously, this track has hosted a lot of races over the past few years, had some kind of scares and whatnot with closing, I've been told. Obviously, not from that area, so my knowledge is only so slim. But we haven't been here since 2009. And for iRacing, we've always had this track, but, this is the first time for official week racing from this previous week where we had racing where everybody could drive and official stuff here at the Milwaukee Mile. So this track is kind of unpredictable. We really don't know how these trucks are going to handle here tonight. I myself have never driven this track. I might have actually in a modified one. So I know back on NASCAR 2005, I used to love this track with the modified. So fun to drive on that console. But hey, these trucks, they're going to be in for a handful tonight. Tire conservation is going to be absolutely key, and it's going to be hard to pass. We saw a lot of times on Sunday. I can't believe I'm saying Sunday for the truck series, but hey, that's when it was. You saw a lot of guys kind of drift up. It was a little bit of multi-groove racing. The bottom kind of seemed to be really good, but then you saw a lot of guys entering towards the middle, diamonding the corner off the exit. So this track, we don't really know what to expect here tonight until we get going in this first stage.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what to expect from FTSR at this track, and I know you said you have not driven here, at least in a top tiering series NASCAR car. So if you were to go to a track and someone's going to say, where are you going to hit your marks, and where's the track to hit the marks, more importantly than the track on the circuit, it's going to be this one. You have to hit your marks so precisely every single lap if you want to maximize your lap times here, because it's so flat and you're carrying a lot of speed into these corners. It is so easy to shave off your tires. You're going to lose a lot of grip. You're going to be push or tight or push loose. You're going to be tight. You're going to be loose. You got to take care of your stuff, man. So you got to roll the corner nice and gently every single lap. You can't move up a lane or two. If you try to diamond the corner on this iRacing service on at the Milwaukee, it's just not a good time. So you're gonna see a lot of guys probably go single file here for the most part. Not the most eventful track, but I mean it is definitely one of those tracks that belongs to the driver and not to the race. You want to race the track as equally as your guys around you. So it just presents some challenges, some strategies, and we're gonna find a good mix of that here tonight with the FTSR guys.
Yeah, for sure, Jeremy. And you talk about obviously these guys have to drive the track, and there's two sayings in racing: is either you're going to drive your car and adapt to the way it handles, or you're going to drive the racetrack. For example, Darlington, NASCAR's going there this weekend. That's a track where you're not driving how your car drives, man. Throw that out the window.
Mm-mm.
You're driving the way the track adapts with both heat, conditions, whatever it may be. Look at the track temperature right now. Just from the SDK live time and scoring 98 degrees. At one point earlier in this practice session, it was about 100 to 101 degrees. So this track temperature today is going to be very slick, even though the ambient air temp's around 77, 78 degrees. So we're still looking at a very slick racetrack, and with the track conditions, with the tire degradation, obviously, and how old this surface is with the newer asphalt on that inside lane. You see Sherwood Williford running it, and then you have all that old asphalt from the middle to the top, all the way up to the marbles. It's going to be difficult. You can get some grip down there on the inside, but just because of how flat this track is, with that 9.25 degrees of banking throughout turns 1 all the way to 4, it's going to be very, very difficult to pass. And obviously, like we talked about, you have to drive the racetrack and adapt to how the track, adapts in general. And also with the tires too. Tires are going to be so crucial. I cannot stress enough how much you have to keep the tires on it tonight.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, on Sunday we saw a lot of the trucks from the race on Sunday too. They'd like to slide up the track. They were going from the bottom to the middle. They're doing that huge diamond that you see maybe at Dover and a couple of places, and they would really maximize their corner exit. But you don't want to do that here on iRacing. It just, from my past experience driving up this track, it's just going to kill those tires. You just have to roll the corner as best you can. Hopefully, you don't overuse the right rear, or you're going to have a really bad time on a long run, which we will probably see a decent amount of long run green flag racing here. But it is qualifying time. We're going to get our faces off your guys' screen and focus on the winner in practice, which happens to be the number 28 of Cody McKinney. Runs a 29.685. The only driver to hit a .6. Stephen Hollingsworth in 25. The only one hit 29.7. So a couple tenths separated in the top three. So we're going to go with the number 19 of Richie Coy, since Cody McKinney's not on track yet. And let's see what he's got in store in qualifying.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of Richie Coy's wheelhouse. Obviously, a driver in real life, used to driving these short tracks. This track just a little bit, and I mean just a little bit over a mile in length, 1.015 miles. So Richie Coy is very adapted to these kind of racetracks, knows how to paint those lines and whatnot. So I expect him to go out here tonight and be very, very consistent, very, very good. He's one of those guys. We saw him earlier in the season at New Hampshire. Similarly, a flat track. He's very good at those kind of places, and there he is right now, currently top of the board with a 29.929. He gets a little loose, so he's going to just turn it off right there. He's going to just throw away this second lap practically. But hey, that's a good enough first lap for his opening lap. Most guys still just in the 30s to 29s. Everybody really all over the place here on the timing and scoring sheet currently as they complete lap 1 and lap 2 of their qualifying laps.
That would have put him P8 on the boards in practice with that lap time there. And you see how tricky it is. I saw a lot of guys, especially off turn 2, to getting loose. Turn 4 is going to be the same exact way. These corners are built almost identically. Maybe a little more runoff on corner exit in turn 4, but we're seeing the number 99 of JP Burns here. He's going to really diamond up this lap here. And I think this is going to be his opening lap for this session, and try to maximize that speed there coming to the green flag.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. And obviously tried to diamond it the best he could. Slid up just a little bit there on entry. And he's still riding that newer paved asphalt down the bottom. Now down this back straightaway, super wide. But just not enough time to kind of race before you get to turn 3. Get down there. Make sure you don't hit those rumble strips. They were added there for the Indy cars to prevent them from going below that, and obviously kind of just makes the cars not handle so well. It definitely is going to affect these trucks here tonight if they do in fact get their left sides on that yellow rumble strip.
See Ryan Chapman giving up his lap there. JP and Burns, when he crossed the line, it was a 30.258, so not a good lap time overall for that number 99. He's going to try to get lap number 2 a little bit better here. That's going to put him P12 from that lap 1 there. You've seen Ryan Chapman coming back on the track, going to reset and get him one more lap opportunity here as we got a minute and a half left in this qualifying session.
Yeah, he's going to try his best right here. Obviously a driver in the playoffs here tonight, so he wants to do his best as you ride on board his iRock 93.5 camera. He's digging inside that virtual cockpit. Here he comes, this time by at the line to complete his first lap so far. He's going to jump up to, I don't believe that was actually his lap yet, so I believe this is going to be his first lap here. One of the very last guys to take time currently. So got off the corner very, very smoothly down this long back straightaway, entering turn 3. We'll see what kind of line he takes. He takes that wider arc, but starts to slide up just a little bit above that seam with that newer asphalt. Gets a little loose off turn number 4. I'm going to say he's probably going to slot somewhere inside the top 10. And that time by no lap that time, or it was actually 18th right there for Ryan Chapman. Thought his lap probably was going to be invalid, but 18th up on the board for Mr. Ryan Chapman. Not the start that he wanted to open up the playoffs here tonight.
Yeah, almost the very bottom of the scoring pylon there. One up by Justin Diltz that currently holds 19th there on the boards. as he's coming to lap number 2. And right now we're on board the roof camera, the 00 Tyler Brown. His first lap was a 30.4, so that was a warm-up lap. I would presume he's going to come off turn 4 here to collect his second lap. And that's going to move him up to, well, actually, he's going to hit the brakes before the start-finish line, so never mind there. 30.4 for Tyler Brown is going to be holding 17th place.
Yeah, some guys obviously did not choose to take a qualifying time, that being Brandon Elder and Alan Duranko. So we're going to have to see how they take on this racetrack here tonight. Maybe they just don't feel too comfortable with their trucks, possibly. But we'll have to see as they get ready to line up for 150 laps here around the infamous Milwaukee Mile.
And these guys are gridding up on the front stretch. So we're going to go trackside here and go over tonight's starting lineup for the Milwaukee 150. And the number 28, Cody McKinney, one of your playoff drivers, is going to be starting P1. Stephen Hollingsworth in that 25 on the outside is second place. New colors, new number for that number 88 here. That's going to be TJ Bartell. Brody Hanna's going to be starting on the outside there in 23rd. Richie Coy in 5th in the number 19. 6th place, Tommy Schaefer in the 29. 7th place is the 16 of Robert Malikian. 8th place, Sylvain Jolly. 9th, Kyle Milliken. And tonight's 10th place starting truck, the number 18, Joseph McKinney.
Rounding out your rest of the field all the way back to 22nd. Starting 11th, you have Michael Blackner, the number 22, Ford. And then starting in 12th, JP Burns, driver the number 99. 13th goes to Marshall Johnson, his Toyota Tundra. 14th, Sherwood Williford and his Taz Chevy Rock and Roll truck as usual. 15th, Lane Allen, one of those guys who came into tonight right outside the cutoff. 16th, Curtis Vollmer and the Jimmy Johnson throwback number 48. 17th, Tyler Brown and the 00 Roasted Gems Coffee Silverado. 18th, Tony Solari, Fury Motorsports driver. 19th goes to Justin Dilt. And then 20th place, you have Ryan Chapman there, or flip-flop him right there. And 21st and 22nd, Alan Duranko in the number 2. And 22nd goes to Brandon Elder in the 51.
We'll update you guys on the point standings as we get a little bit into the green flag racing here, but stage break will come at lap number 45, or the completion of, rather. And then they're going to have 100 laps from that point to settle this thing out. Remember, 3 sets of tires behind the wall plus the one on the track right now, so 4 sets in total for all these teams. And we got a half a lap left. We're going to go back to green flag, and I would expect a long green flag run here, especially this stage 1. We did see a lot of trucks getting loose, but I expect a lot of patience here to figure out where they need to tweak the truck to see where they need to perform best. Get that figured out for the second half, but Pace's car is going to dip down here at any moment. Really tricky pit road entrance. Just a real quick cut out there in the wall, and you have to get the speed as soon as you get into that area real quick. But green flag is out. We are underway for the Milwaukee 150. Number 28, Cody McKinney, alongside the 25 of Hollingsworth. Side-by-side direct heat for every single row here, going through turn number 1 and 2. Hollingsworth is usually really fast here on the initial goes in this race, but right now Cody McKinney fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, and I expect nothing different here in this race.
McKinney already trying to show that early speed here on lap 1, coming to complete it this time by. He'll clear Stephen Hollingsworth for the first spot, make Cody McKinney top of the board this time by. He'll lead lap number 1, trying to open up the playoffs with the win to lock into the round of 12. Wrapping around 1 and 2, you see Richie Coy. He's trying to work on the back bumper of his teammate Brody Hanna. Sylvain Jolly exits really high off turn 2.
Still a bunch of 2x2 here early on in this race. Brody Hanna makes a quick dive under the 88 of TJ Bartell, trying to take that spot for third. Richie Coy right behind them as you go, focusing on them through turns 3 and 4. Oh, the 29 of Tommy Schaefer, bad loose behind these guys, and I have no idea how he saved that truck. He was loose in turn 4 quite a few times in practice, and man, that truck was left, right, sawing on that wheel real heavy, and that's gonna cost him about 5 or 6 spots there.
Crazy right there. The driver who's going for 5 straight podium finished just a second place last week, or third place, I believe it was, at Daytona. Won earlier, just a couple weeks ago. One of those drivers in the playoffs, has a lot of strong momentum coming in here tonight. Thankfully was able to save it and keep it off the wall there, I believe, off turn number 4. Take a look. You just see him overcorrecting down the front straightaway, gets to the inside, Thankfully, does not hit that inside wall, but does a great job at wrapping that bottom in 1 and 2.
You see another camera angle there, just heavy sawing on that wheel. Great shot there by producer Dustin to get that shot for us. As we still stay green flag rather. Still some side-by-side action going on midway in the pack. I see Zach Waffles there on the YouTube side saying, come on, number 27. That's going to be Mr. Ryan Chapman, one of our IROC 93.5 cockpit drivers here this evening. And he's got some new colors on that truck.
Yeah, and he's trying his best right now to make it up through the field the best he can. Currently only 18th, plus 1 spot from where he started currently. Brandon Elder looks like he took it to pit road. He's 3 laps down. Believe he has exited that truck. Or actually, I can't tell if that's just the Sharpie outlining or what. But if I'm correct, Jeremy, does that truck look like it has a lot of damage on it here? Yeah, in fact, it does. He spun right to the inside. And I think he just decided to take a tow right to pit road, man. It is not Brandon Elder's night in that number 51 machine. Obviously not playoff eligible for these last 10 races, but definitely early heartbreaker for Brandon Elder in that 51 Sharpie machine.
Yeah, the most deceiving paint skin in the whole field, right?
The best.
It looked like it had damage, but no, he just self-spun, didn't make any contact. So, yeah, I thought from that angle, looking down through pit road, it was damaged, but no, just a paint job there. But you did mention playoffs and stuff like that, so I want to quickly mention, if you did not notice already, the scoring pylon on your right-hand side now is filled with a bunch of colors. If you are green, you are well good into the playoffs. If you are yellow, you are in that bubble, which is 10th through 12th. And then 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, you're going to be listed in red. That means you're currently outside of that cutoff here. As you know, with the playoff system, it's 3 races cut, 3 races cut, 3 races cut, and then you got the last race for the final 4. But still seeing some good 2x2 here. Tyler Brown underneath the 27 of Ryan Chapman. This is well outside the top 10 for 16th place right now, as these guys are continuing to try to move in. And what I've noticed, Jason, too, talking about paint schemes, there's a lot of different chrome here. You see Ryan Chapman's got that 27 all chromed out in the bronze, and the same bronze color right to his inside there on the paint job overall for Tyler Brown.
Yeah, those cars look or trucks, should I say, look absolutely gorgeous right there. The little brown chrome on that 00 roasted gems machine, and then you have that 27. Anything that looks to be brown is a copper color for that 27 machine. And he's still trying to fight his way up through this field, up 3 spots so far. You see him a little bit loose right now. I could just imagine, though, inside that cockpit for Ryan Chapman, it's got to be a handful right now because he is kind of snappy loose throughout the corner. Watch him down here into turns 3 and 4. You're going to see the onboard shot from Tyler Brown. Now we ride on board Ryan Chapman. Just looking at him, he looks a little bit loose currently off the corner. He's trying to make some adjustments inside his cockpit, make sure he's comfortable with heading down into turns 1 and 2. He'll turn in here. Great shot. You can just see him how loose he is. Look at him kind of snapping that wheel back and forth. No smoothness to that ride right now for that 27 machine.
Yeah, he is just hanging on right now. And we're only 11 laps into this race. So if he's handling like this right now, this man on your camera is going to be really tired, I would imagine, at least at stage and especially at the end of the race. He's got to get that thing handling a little better to make his night a lot more comfortable here. He's just struggling on corner entry, corner exit, trying to rotate the center, forget about it. He's just trying to hold on tight here as these laps. You know, we're at 45 laps for the stage break, so we're not even, we're basically at a quarter of the way, I guess, at this point right now before we see that lap come by. So handling issues showing its face really early on in this Milwaukee 150.
Yeah, already seeing some of the lap times falling off here. I mean, he's falling off currently. Oh, a little bit loose. Schaefer got into the wall there off turn 4, so his little rough night early on, 13 laps into this event, continues for the driver, the number 29 machine. Thankfully was able to save it. This is a night so far that Tommy Schaefer would like to forget. Hopefully he can get back up towards the front. But when you look at lap time fall-offs here in Germany, the best lap time for Ryan Chapman, 30.7. Last time around, 31.4. So we are almost a second to what that best lap time was. So tire fall-off already starting to be A big problem for some of these drivers here, just 14 laps in.
That's a big problem. They're over a second fall off already. We saw the Nerd TV replay showcase the 29 wall slapping corner exit 4 continues to be a problem child for that number 29 truck. And I see Brandon Gagnon, driver of the number 38, on the Facebook side in the chat saying, missed you guys this week, taking the week off. I think he might be missing next week too. I'll have to get confirmation on that. But he'll be back in action, before season's end for sure. And I want to do a quick shout out to one of our partners. Speaking of paint schemes a little bit ago, I'm going to showcase myself here at Nerd Wraps. Rather, that's how my words mixed up there, as I'm accustomed to doing so. But Nerd Wraps at wraps.nerditudes.gg. If you're looking for a paint job, I have the number 38 Brandon Gagnon, his paint skins out there. Next week, I'm going to be showcasing a brand new scheme for a brand new Nerd Motorsports driver, TJ Bartell. Not my skin this week, but next week you'll see a nice chrome red out there. But if you have an idea for a paint scheme and you want to fully customize the way you want it with anything imaginable, head over to wraps.nerditudes.gg. I got you covered for sure.
Yeah, I know you got obviously everybody covered here. That 38 machine of Brandon Gagnon looks sharp every single week it has been on track. A lot of great paint schemes, though, out here tonight. You look at this 48 car of Curtis Vollmer, one of those drivers who continuously every week supports that Jimmy Johnson throwback. And Curtis is a guy who really has shown some raw talent inside that cockpit recently these last few weeks. Remember back at Iowa, he was able to snag a top 3 finish. Last week at Daytona, looked to be strong. He's had his moments, especially when he's on fresh tires. He can get his way up through the points, or not the points, but the lineup pretty quickly. But then ultimately, once everybody kind of gets equalized on tires and a caution comes out, Curtis kind of just starts to fade away a little bit because of everybody on those newer tires. But he's been a driver who's been very, very strong recently. I expect him to continue his strong momentum here in Season C, and then on the off season work a little bit, and then head back next season stronger than ever.
Oh, 100%. The Vollmer up 5 spots. And another guy mentioned that I know he's really strong on these short runs, but kind of falls off on the long run. Is typically that 25 of Stephen Hollingsworth, but he is holding a demanding second place right now. Only a second and a half back from the really fast Cody McKinney. But then even then, Stephen Hollingsworth has a 2-second lead over third place Brody Hanna. So right now that 25 has something at least in the middle run of this race. I don't know how the long run's getting a handle for him, but right now I've been watching his lap times. The 25 Hollingsworth has been hugging that yellow line there at the bottom, utilizing everything he can at the very bottom of the track, not over driving entry, just doing a solid, good job here. So if he can keep that up, we might see someone in this top 3 that we're not probably going to expect here. That's going to be the 25 of Hollingsworth.
Yeah, and Hollingsworth's doing a really good job right now. Only about a little less than a 10th off of Cody McKinney's fastest lap time. So, or not fast lap time, but the last lap time here. So maybe Stephen Hollingsworth has something possibly for Cody McKinney on the long run. But Cody McKinney is just a driver who is strong on both short run and long run. So we'll have to see if this number 25 machine can in fact come up through the field as we work our way back. You see some drivers starting to look for opportunities to maybe make passes with these tires falling off by almost a second here. Looking at Sylvain Jolly, he heads up the racetrack, presenting an opportunity for Curtis Vollmer to maybe pick up 7 spots here in the early going as they head to 3.
Yeah, just continues to put on a great show here. Looking at Sylvain Jolly, any moment he's going to get it right here off turn number 4. This might be his best chance. The number 08, Sylvain Jolly, goes wide right there off exit of 4. And the 48 makes an aggressive cut right back in front of Sylvain Jolly to get himself set up for a really nice entry into turn number 1. So that's going to put him in P9, up 7 spots like you just said. Excellent drive so far for this 48.
He's a driver very well could come out of here possibly with a top 10, no doubt about it, but maybe a top 5, maybe a podium. We'll get to talk to Curtis Vollmer. I remember when me and Dustin interviewed him back in, I believe it was Iowa, like I said. Man, he was ecstatic after the race. I had never heard so much energy from somebody besides Richie Coy, after a race. And man, he was excited to finish P3. He said, this is what we're on. We're new and we're trying to build our team up and, build fast cars every week. And that's for sure what Curtis Vollmer has been able to do these last few weeks, and he's just a driver who continuously gets better and better and better every single race he runs. So maybe tonight could be a night where Curtis Vollmer can have that enthusiasm that he did back in Iowa earlier this year.
And I just saw what Dustin had moved the camera over to, the number 18 and the number 2 running the second and third groove there through turns 3 and 4. I have not seen that through anybody with speed, so I'm not sure what that is. Maybe they just had a little domino effect of missing the corner, but the 18 actually got pretty loose that corner exit turn number 2. It's going to allow Allen DeRonco and the 2 to catch up just a little bit. You see the 2 slide up to the second groove there. You want to watch how much you do that because you don't want to go too much. You're going to continue just to shred those tires apart of this really rough surface. That was, what did I say, it was repaved in 1954 minus that bottom patch. It's been some recent patchwork. I don't know how recent that little patch is down there, but needless to say, this track is abrasive. It's old. It's bumpy. It's slick. It's just, this is what makes this such a driver's track because you want to hit the marks as best as you can every single lap here.
For sure, Jeremy. This is a driver's rhythm track. You have to get into a rhythm and drive the track as it works its way in and adapts and builds rubber on top of it too. I mean, like we talked about earlier, practice about 100 to 101 degrees right now, about 96, 97. So it's cooled down, but not by much. So even though the ambient air temp is still 77 degrees, this track temp is definitely very, very hot. We keep seeing guys get very loose off turns 2 and off turns 4. So those are going to be the 2 parts of the racetrack where you're going to want to watch, no doubt about it, here tonight as these tires continue to put more and more wear. And obviously this track rubbers up just a little. Oh, Tony Solari hard into the outside wall there off turn number 4. Just like we were talking about, drivers getting loose, and the right front fender of the driver, the number 11, one of the drivers on the bubble. Huge implications early on to his round of 16 hopes.
Man, he came into this thing 11th place starting in the playoffs here, and yeah, that was a massive hit to the right front of that Ford F-150. Just right here on the Nerd TV replay, just drives it wide. It looked like his truck was tight, and then it just pushed loose real heavy, overcorrected, and man, you see that fender just flying off that truck. Bounces off the hood, falls down on the straightaway, and thankfully there's no debris cautions here on the iRacing platform. It disappears, but man, that's going to bring the number 11 Tony Solari to pit road. I would imagine several minutes of optional damage, maybe even some required. So early on, and I was going to mention too at some point that Tony Solari is the only driver in the playoffs right now that is above the cut line that has 0 wins and 0 stage wins. So he's doing this off of just pure consistency, and what a way to start the playoffs here for him.
Yeah, man, that's an absolute heartbreaker. When you went back to the bubble, all the guys who are currently outside, they're all tied for what would be the 13th spot, that being Joseph, McKinney, Sherwood, Williford, Allen, and Burns. And then Tony Solari only came in 1 point above that cutoff line. So this is not going to be the night that he wanted for sure.
And as we continue to wind down laps, I want to shout out the series sponsor, Martin Sports, small-time company with the big-time product and the home of the best sim gloves you'll ever put on your hands. So if you're wanting to upgrade your sim racing game, or if you upgrade just anything, shirt related, they got tons of different jerseys, shirts, hoodies, hats. They got a lot of different apparel options for you guys, and they're, they're printed with the fastest turnaround in the business, full color dyes, and it's never going to fade on you, and they're really comfortable on top of that. So if you want to make yourself look stylish and feel comfortable at the same time, head yourself over to martinsports.gg and use that promo code that you see in the green text right above the gloves, Super Nerd. It's going to save you 25% off anything that you purchase from Martin Sports.
So these guys are going to need themselves a pair of Martin Sports gloves right here when they're done after this one. Everybody getting super, super loose. And those Martin Sports gloves are definitely giving +1, maybe +1,000 extra grip out here tonight. You're looking at that number 9 machine down the back straightaway. Marshall Johnson kind of been just really maintaining his position ever since this race started. Currently 13th, no positions gained. You see the 19 machine, Richie Coy. He's battling with TJ Bartell. Richie really hasn't gained any positions. You can just see him right now with those Martin Sport gloves. He's getting very loose off these corners, taking that sigh of relief off the corners like he usually does. A notorious Ford driver, the number 19 machine. He is stuck up on that outside lane, man. And I just don't think, Jeremy, that outside lane is the place to be right now.
And there's the puff of air from Richie Coy. I was waiting for it off a turn 4 exit there, and he gave it up. He is really focused around this track now. He's got some pressure from the 42 Kyle Milliken right behind him. Of course, he just got passed by the number 88 of TJ Bartell, which Bartell, by the way, 4 straight podium finishes for that now number 88 truck. So, he's 1 spot shy of putting himself back into podium position early on in this race. I'm going to be really surprised if he can do it. And if he can, it's going to be such a dynamic thing to do it at an intermediate track. This is almost treated like a short track. And, of course, last week was a super speedway. So really consistent driving right now by that 88 late in the season.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you talk about him wanting to continue that momentum with the consistency level. And the other driver we were keeping that eye on was Tommy Schaefer, trying to go for 5 straight consecutive top 3 finishes in a row. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that could be the case tonight unless somehow, some way, Tommy Schaefer gets a little bit of luck on his side. Currently still residing in that 15th spot. Very, very tough night to be able to pass as a driver if you're Tommy Schaefer.
Yeah, 100% here. 10 laps to go before we're going to see stage end. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a caution, but we have seen multiple trucks hit the wall, especially that number 11. We saw the 29 do it at least once or twice, and just handling issues all around. But the top 10, for the most part, surprisingly to me, Jason, have looked pretty comfortable, if you want to say comfortable. I know they're working really hard behind the wheel, but on the camera side of things, it looks like it's not a terrible thing to be driving here. But if you go back through the field, maybe outside the top 10, that's where you continue to see a lot of trucks just struggle for grip. They're just trying everything. And there's some that are really tight. Like I'm watching the 22 Michael Blackner right now. He's just really tight on corner exit. Just has to lift and wait and wait and wait. And it just scrubs so much speed. And plus it scrubs the wear on the tires. So, just a huge plethora of handling situations for these guys through the field.
Yeah, for sure. And like we talked about earlier on in this race, right before we started, some guys are going to want to diamond these corners. Some guys are going to want to use that wider arc. Most guys are going to try to run that bottom because that fresh asphalt, it's not going to wear out the tires as much, but it's not the fastest lane around. But just because of how much the tire degradation is here tonight, as you watch Michael Blackner off the corner just barely give a little kiss to the outside wall off turn 2. These guys are struggling, and everybody seems to be running this inside lane here. As you look at through the field, Kyle Milliken, JP Burns, there's Robert Millikian, all the way down to the bottom. You watch the 99 slide up a bit, diamonds it just a tad bit, but off the corner, everybody in this race seems to be running that bottom lane.
Yeah, at this point, you just kind of have to do it. You got to ride along here until we get to the stage end. 29 Tommy Schaefer, bad lose this time off of turn 2 there, as he's now continuing to run currently in 15th place here on the scoring pylon. As him and the number 2 just kind of been around each other for the past 10-15 laps or so. And if we load up the iRacing iFlag track map, you're going to see what exactly 39 or 40 laps now looks like here at Milwaukee Mile, and it is completely spaced out. This track is covered with trucks all over the place. You see heavy right now coming on the front stretch and the back stretch, and a couple of trucks here and there in the corners. But yeah, they're just completely spaced out. And this is very classic. It almost drives like a road course in the sense that things get spaced out and you just kind of have to run your own race.
Yeah, for sure, Jeremy. No doubt about it. We talked about it earlier on in the broadcast that this is a driver's racetrack. You kind of have to adapt to the track conditions, but you also have to get in a rhythm similar to a road course race or like a Darlington or like a short track. And that's basically what this is. It's the Milwaukee Mile, 1.015 miles in length. So it is considered a short track. And you're watching Brody Hanna head down to the corner. I'm sure he's begging and pleading for that caution to come out pretty soon here. Once they reach over lap 45 on a lap 46, top 10 will receive valuable points here. And this is the most valuable time, obviously, in the season to receive stage points because there's only 10 races left, man. If you're battling for a championship, you're going to want every single stage point you can get.
Especially that truck right now in 7th place. That's the 99 of JP Burns. He is red. He's the first truck on the pylon that's red. Coming into this thing dead last, 16th place. I mean, I guess he's really tied for 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th at, the same amount of points total. But needless to say, him putting himself in this position inside the top 10, this is going to move him quite well into that bubble, maybe even outside of the bubble into the green, depending on how everyone else finishes around him. Which right now we see another truck, that's the 14 lane Allen. 14th, he's the other truck in the red. And everybody else is outside of the top 20 here, it looks like, or at least close to it. So great job right now for JP Burns to kind of set himself up for early success in this first part of the playoffs.
Sure, no doubt about it. This is probably going to put him just a little bit above that cutoff line, if I had to imagine. Because not only is Tyler Brown having himself outside the top 10 run right now, he would love to get a playoff point here. You see him in yellow. You also see Tony Solari, that earlier contact, man. That guy's race is practically done. 12 laps down, just running around this racetrack right now, trying to complete every single lap he can, get as many points, maximize the effort, like these guys say. Because like in racing, you can never give up. You have no idea what's going to happen compared to other sports. You could have half this field wreck on a restart. You don't know. Even though it might not seem like it, you just never know. So these stage points here are going to be valuable as we're coming here for the end of the stage.
And we're coming to the line right now for lap 46. 10th place truck has to cross the line, and they will throw the yellow flag. So leader Cody McKinney is halfway around this track on this lap, and there we go. It almost took an entire lap for them to throw the caution for the 28 there, as he's already in turn 3 and 4. But that is the first official caution presented by Roasted Jim's Coffee. Stage is over. Cody McKinney earning some very valuable stage points. It is our time to kick it to picture-in-picture mode. Go to commercial break. We'll be back with you guys shortly before the drop of the green flag for stage 2. And back to full screen here as we presumably have a lap and a half left before we're going to go green flag for stage number 2. And I think we should talk to one of the guys in the field, running pretty strong right now, trying to increase his playoff hopes, is the number 99 of JP Burns. JP Burns, this is Jeremy in the Nerd TV booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
Hey man, you're coming to this thing underneath the cut line here, officially labeled 16th, but I know you got the other guys in front of you tied. But this truck right now is so much faster than everybody else competition-wise in the playoff standings. Um, how did you prepare for tonight, and how do you think this truck's going to continue to run through the rest of this race?
Oh, this is my first time at this track, so I had to do a bunch of practice and figuring out the line I was most comfortable with, and just trying to hit my marks is the main thing.
Do you feel like that long run setup underneath that truck right now is going to keep you inside this top 10?
I'm really hoping to. I made a little adjustment to loosen it up a bit, so we'll see how that goes on this run.
All right, man. Well, good luck to you and bring it back to your channel, and maybe we'll be talking to you later this evening.
Cheers. Have a good one, guys.
You too. JP Burns once again driving the number 99 Ford F-150, and he's going to be restarting this event P7 on the inside of row number 4. One of the elevated esports drivers here, but we're going to see the same exact 1 and 2 as we did at the start of this race. Cody McKinney on the inside, Stephen Hollingsworth on the outside here. Pace car is down. We're going to be restarting this thing on lap 51, so exactly 100 laps to go in the Milwaukee 150, and a clean start it looks like through the entire field.
Yeah, and Cody McKinney right now wants to make sure he's able to clear Stephen Hollingsworth this time off turn number 2. Almost dead even, but now off the corner, Hollingsworth pushes a little tight. McKinney's going to have the advantage entering turn 3 with Brody Hanna waiting in the wings behind those two drivers.
Top 3, top 4 look pretty solid. There's a lot of movement right now going on between 6th and about 10th place or so as they get really scattered off corner exit 4. Right now, the 25 of Hollingsworth still putting a great amount of pressure on Cody McKinney. This is all he's got. Once Cody is clear, I think Cody's going to be setting off into the sunset with how well that truck is running. And off of turn number 2 is over. The 28 has a truck length advantage, but Brody Hanna poking his nose underneath. 25 recognizes that. He's going to drive it deep into turn 3. Going to utilize a little extra wear and tear on those tires to get in position. Single file. And now we got side-by-side action for about 8th place with Richie Coy on the top.
The front of the field, Stephen Hollingsworth had one heck of a run off turn 4. Thought about going low. McKinney put a block on him, set up Hollingsworth to go back to the top side, but off the corner, Hollingsworth doesn't get the advantage. That goes to Cody McKinney. This time by entering turn number 3. This is the only time all night long that we've seen Cody McKinney have a challenge up at the front for the lead.
25 Hollingsworth, bad loose there, hits a bump in between 3 and 4. I think he tagged the apron possibly in that little rumble strip section. Allows Brody Hanna, the 23, to get to the bottom. And right now I think Stephen Hollingsworth is driving just a little too aggressive early on here. This is not going to play for the long run here, but Brody Hanna, the 23, gets to the inside. Halfway passes him coming to turn 3, drives it in deep, and Brody Hanna for the first time tonight is going to find himself in position number 2.
25 almost got to the rear bumper again of Hanna off into turns 3 and 4, but that just wasn't enough. Cody McKinney, he's got the sails, pretty much all down. He's got full speed ahead. He's digging up there up at the front of the field. Brody Hanna back by 0.5 of a second, make it half a second, that is, while they all battle behind him single file, and Hanna gets a little loose off turn number 2. Everybody, though, is still trying to fight and claw for every position, knowing that track position has been key all night long.
I know everyone has gone single file already, but inside, right around this top 10 area, we're seeing a lot of bumper-to-bumper racing still here. Really close battles all the way through the bottom half of this track right now. And it just takes one person to maybe pounce to set up the freight train to send someone back. But who wants to make the attack there in the quarter entry to make it happen? Because right now, early on in this event, or on the restart rather, the grip's there, so exit's really not a concern. It's going to be corner entries. We're going to make your pass here, but right now we're seeing the 42 try to get underneath the 88 of Bartel, but Bartel has enough momentum on the top to carry it, makes the look to put himself in front of the 42, does not do it. 42 slides up, maybe some contact, door-to-door action here off of turn number 2 now.
Bartel nearly gets into the marbles off turn number 2. Opened up the door for not only Kyle Milliken, but here comes JP Burns. the in-race reporter there at the end of the stage. He is trying to make a move, trying to get a 2-for-1 special. He might just do that. Almost 3 wide for a moment. Back down the front straightaway to the inside of TJ Bartel, trying to close in right now for that 5th spot as he moves into it, into turns 1 and 2. Gets up the track a little bit and puts the bumper to him almost off the corner. JP Burns moves into the 5th spot.
Yeah, Bartel knows running that second to third groove is not the way to be, so he is trying to cut this thing as close as he can to the guy right behind, or right underneath him rather. But just one little wiggle from the bottom, which is very easy to do, and it's going to send him back, and that's why the 99 of Burns got a huge run there. About 5 or 6 truck lengths now separates them. 48 Curtis Vollmer almost completes the pass on TJ Bartel now. Now Richie Coy in the 19 has his nose there as the Bartel is starting to get freight trained.
Yeah, Bartel is just stuck up on that outside, basically. Almost could have closed the door on Coy there. Off corner exit, now back into 3 and 4. You see Coy working the inside of the racetrack, wrapping that bottom side. And then there is Robert Milikian right behind him, waiting in the wings in case these two get together. But Coy still working the bottom side of the racetrack, heading into 1. He'll throw the slider down in there, almost gets up in front. He'll make the pass and clear Bartel off turn number 2, with Milikian having the door wide open for him, trying to make a pass into 3 on Bartel.
It is now Robert Milikian's turn to maybe get this pass completed. That's going to move him up to 8th place if he can do so. 88 still struggling. He's getting so close to getting into line, right? But as soon as he has that window open, oh, we got our first natural caution here, 2nd overall in the race, presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. And looking back through the field, I see maybe a couple trucks slow here through turns. Yeah, it's going to be number 27, Ryan Chapman.
Oh, no.
Ford F-150 IROC 93.5 driver. Just gets loose off of 4.
Just gets loose off of 4, but does a little bit of a Michael McDowell there. Does a 360. Keeps it going. No harm, no foul. But those tires are going to be absolutely shot. Probably going to have to come in here and take a set of tires. If not, I mean, it's going to be really difficult. I think if you're Ryan Chapman here, Jeremy, the best case scenario for him, even though he took the wave around after the end of that first stage and then came into pit, I believe the best bet for that number 27 machine is to probably come in, take a set of Goodyear Eagles, and try to work his way up through the field just a tiny bit, and then try to save the best he can.
Yeah, if he does come down pit road, which I would imagine he's going to, this is going to be his 3rd of 4 sets that he has to use, right? So then he's going to have 90 laps or 85 when they go back to green flag to utilize 1 extra set on pit road. So for the 27, you might say, hey, I want to keep this thing green as long as possible because, you know, if you have a lot of cautions, how do you know when to take the last set of tires, right? So you just kind of play that here, but actually he's going to stay out. The 27 does not come down pit road, but I see Marshall Johnson, the number 9, the 16 as well of Robert Milikian. So 2 takers here on this pit stop. And we're going to go back to another quick picture-in-picture break. Be back with you guys shortly.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back to full screen here. We got a half a lap left before we're going to go back to green flag action for the third time this evening. It's going to be happening on lap number 66. So it's going to be a 90-lap stint here if they go green the rest of the way. We saw 2 trucks come down pit road. One truck in surprise would be the number 16 there, Malikian. He's got 1 set of tires left behind the wall. Let's see how he's going to, play that strategy here. Will we see cautions or will we see green flag racing? Time will tell. Green flag is out. Cody McKinney leads the field. Had a nice little half a track head start there over the 23 of Brody Hanna, who's going to start this race in P number 2. Stephen Hollingsworth finds himself early on the bottom, which is exactly where you want to be here at this track. It is so difficult to make any moves on the second lane. You saw Bartel get freight trained like 4 to 5 spots in a matter of 6 laps or so. But right now the 23 Hanna early on going to hold strong, at least on the outside of the 25 as Cody McKinney finds himself clear, Jason.
Yeah, and he had to throw a big block right there on Stephen Hollingsworth, knowing that Stephen was going to get into the corner hot like he just did there, heading into turn number 1. But McKinney's still going to have the race lead this time off turn number 2. Hanna's going to head up to the outside, opens up the door for JP Burns. Where did he come from on that restart, heading into the 4th spot, trying to attack Hanna for the 3rd?
Excellent job for this 99 to start off the playoffs right. If he can maintain this pace all race long, this is going to be an excellent way to begin this thing off. Right now behind the 23, looking to actually try to advance here. He's about running the same pace as the 23. His teammate right behind him, the other Furrier Motorsports driver, 19, Richie Coy, running in P5 right now. And then Tyler Brown along suit, just trying to hang tight in there. 23 and Brody Hanna actually gets to the inside of Stephen Hollingsworth here through turns 3 and now turn 4. Coming onto the front stretch here, directly side by side. And I think the 23 is going to have that position by a mere 3/1000ths.
Got to be careful at maintaining that throttle down on the bottom side of the racetrack because you don't want to gas it up too early. Next thing you know, you're getting into the left rear quarter panel or door or fender, whatever it may be, of your competitor that you're battling with for position. Thankfully, Brody Hanna able to make quick work of Stephen Hollingsworth off turn number 2. But Hollingsworth, quick work back to the bottom side of the racetrack. He's going to battle Brody Hanna yet again for the second spot, this time in N1.
Yeah, Brody's had maybe made a couple changes in pit road there. That truck's gotten a little bit faster since the initial run here. But does he have anything for the 28? That's the real question there. He can hold second place, but man, that 28's just got something else underneath his truck for sure. Burns looks like he's just kind of maintaining there. The 19 looks a little bit faster than him. So I think maybe eventually the 19 will join his teammate up front and maybe in podium spot here. Some racing deep in the back in this field as well, side by side with Marshall Johnson and the 16 of Robert Malikian, which these two guys in particular, the only two that came down pit road during that caution break. So, you try to get single file and get these trucks passed up. You know you got the better tires. You just got to make the job done.
Yeah, and it's funny too, Jeremy, because we talked about this under that commercial break when we saw them pit in picture-in-picture mode. And I was like, man, I don't know if that was the right call for Robert. Obviously pitting, only having about 10 laps on the tires. And you're just seeing it right now. It looks to not be the best call. Yeah, he's making passes. But because of how spread out this race gets, and not only the 16, but the 9 of Marshall Johnson as well, this race has been getting spread out. It's been very, very hard to pass. Just don't know if that was the right call for the 16, considering the fact that he was inside the top 10 when he made that pit stop.
When your trucks are identical here, it is probably one of the most difficult tracks to make a pass. It requires someone almost to make some kind of mistake, and we've seen a lot of trucks with handling issues, so that is the only way you're truly going to get around multiple trucks here is you find someone making an off move, maybe trying to be a little aggressive on the throttle or on the brake, and opens that door up for you. But right now, every single truck is single filed early on. I think this is a great time to turn up the tunes since we got them all still kind of congested right now. We're going to listen to the sounds of these trucks going around this 1 mile facility.
out. Caution is out.
And back to full screen action. As you saw off of turn number 2, a truck quickly zoomed off corner exit and hits the inside wall, and that's going to be the second caution brought out by that number 27, Ryan Chapman. Hits the curbing there, slides way up the track, door slaps the outside wall, and then sends it to the inside wall. And, oh my, did you see how close he got to hitting those little... I did not even recognize there was 4 tires.
What the hell is that?
I'm so glad he did not hit that, because I would have been pissed if that took my night out there by hitting the little set of stacked tires. But you're going to see it here, spins out.
It's so random.
Exit. Yeah, just look at it. It's so close, man.
Why is that there? Like, oh my goodness. All jokes aside, though, man, we know how tough that this race has been on Ryan Chapman. Definitely a race he would like to forget. But that all started with those left rumble strips right there on the apron, Jeremy. I think Ryan Chapman, and this is the thing about Ryan Chapman, and obviously I'm not him, I don't know, but just as a broadcaster and as a fan and an observer of the way he races with his craft, whenever Ryan Chapman is having a bad night, have you ever noticed that it just continues to get worse and worse and worse? And I feel like he beats himself up a lot. Like I said, could be totally wrong, but it's just, I feel like whenever he gets into these positions where it's not a good night, it seems like the mistakes are more frequent, maybe because he's just that frustrated. But right there, I mean, that's very unusual for a driver to kind of just hit those rumble strips with the left side tires and then just continuously drive up the track. Maybe he was out of the gas, maybe he was trying to crank it, maybe he just didn't care anymore. I don't know, but man, it's been a very, very tough night for Ryan Chapman, but it's seemingly starting to get a little bit better for Tony Solari, going back to 5 laps down here. Just one more lap on the board that he doesn't have to go around, then the leader. So he gets the Martin Sports Get a Grip Lucky Dog Award.
I think he wishes he was 5 laps down. I see him on the pylon as 9 laps down this time around here. But I want to go back to that Ryan Chapman wreck. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Whenever his night gets bad, it gets worse. And it does not fail, right? But if you notice on the Nerd TV replay when Dustin was showing that off, his wheel was turned so far to the left, yet the truck was not turning. So that just tells me that thing got super tight and just had absolutely zero grip on the front tires. And that's what made him hit the wall. And of course, he shot down quickly to the inside because his wheel was turned almost 90 degrees to the left. So it's definitely no surprise there. And I think he's going to kick it back. Yeah, watch how continuously, look at it, his hand is on top of the wheel. Trying to turn, hit the wall, then he has to overcorrect there. But yeah, that's just super tight truck there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a really rough night for that 27 machine. He just wants everything to go well, you know, and coming into the playoffs tonight, he was 5th up on the board, and he's only 10 points above, you know, said cutoff line. So this is not going to be very good at all for Ryan Chapman at all. Obviously, a couple guys have had some issues tonight. JP Burns probably being the biggest benefactor tonight for the guys who were below the cutoff line. Joseph McKinney, he's had kind of a terrible night to say. He's been in the back all race. Lane Allen, he's kind of just chilling right now, running in 7th. And then you have, who next? Sherwood Williford. He's having an all right kind of night, but just sitting there in 19th, kind of minding his own P's and Q's. And then obviously JP Burns, we know the night he's had. So it's been a tough night for some guys, but also a very good night for some of those guys as well.
If you notice, look at the 2 trucks in the front. Guess who pitted? The only 2 trucks that pitted on the last caution. It wouldn't happen to them in the 9 and the 16, right? So all of a sudden, this strategy call that we questioned has played perfectly. They've only got, you know, X amount of laps of green flag running on these tires. So this might be one of the best calls this team has made to date. We're going to see how well they hold up in front of the field for the first time, as someone not named Cody McKinney is going to restart this thing. Green flag is out. Cody going to try to quickly make the bump to the number 9, goes looking to the inside, backs off of that, avoids 3 wide as they go through turns 1 and 2 here. The number 9 gets about a quarter truck length advantage, but Cody McKinney just going to eat him up for lunch. Looks to the inside. Now we're going to be 3 wide heading to turn 3.
Turn number 3, will there be contact nearly between the 9 and the 16? They head way up the racetrack while Cody McKinney goes back to the top spot. That silver crown going back up on top of his head. He's back to the point now with Stephen Hollingsworth all over his rear bumper, while the 16 and the 9 continuously try to defend for positions in 3rd and 4th.
As they quickly fall back, that number 9 lost, what, 5 or 6 spots in that last lap exchange, going 3 wide, trying to just maintain as the freight train was starting to happen there. The better truck of the two, I think, out of the strategy call is going to be that 16 of Malikian. If he can hold himself inside the top 10, this might be the best call for that truck right now. Those guys this time around fall in line 6th and 7th place. Oh, we got a truck heading to the wall. Number 2 of Alan DeRonco hits the inside wall there, coming to turn number 1 entry, and they're continuing to wreck. Sherwood Williford is involved, and also the 18 of Cody McKinney, one of the playoff drivers here, coming into this race 13th. And it is, I said Cody, I meant Joey, it rhymes, it's the same thing. But caution is out for the 4th time this evening here, presented by Roasted Jim's Coffee. And this is a multi-truck wreck for the first time.
My goodness, what a hit to the inside retaining wall for the number 2 machine. Then what in God's name happened to the 18? He just all of a sudden lost it in the middle of 1 and 2, and then overcorrected after he got hit and ultimately hit that outside wall. That was a very, very odd wreck, but something that's very common here, considering the fact that the tire wear is like that. We saw earlier in the week, back on Sunday, Greg Van Alst, he kind of had a mechanical failure, came up and then into Brad Perez entering turn 1. So that's not uncommon to see a wreck like that happen heading down to turn 1.
Yeah, I was kind of listening to some driver chat. Of course, Sherwood Williford's the really confused one out of the bunch. He's like, "Why'd you hit my truck?" It's like, because he got sandwiched there essentially. He was the icing of the Oreo sandwich on the inside and outside at the same exact time, as he's just simply just trying to avoid the wreck. I really don't know why Joseph McKinney was so loose there. Well, I went back to his cockpit camera actually, Jason. I lit a throttle up there from the 18 in the center of the corner, which sent him sideways.
Yeah, and that'll do it for you ultimately, Jeremy. Obviously, throttling back up into the corner too early, especially when you're kind of sliding up the racetrack, because then you get that right rear tire spinning when you're already in a very vulnerable spot going up the racetrack, and ultimately that's what spun him out. But hey, man, that is what it is. And I want to point something out right here, going off topic. Obviously, this 25 machine of Stephen Hollingsworth, every single restart, he has been the only one who has been able to challenge Cody McKinney. And without the short run, if we do get into another long run again, I want to know if JP Burns can possibly challenge Cody McKinney, because we talked to him right after that initial stage, obviously the one and only stage, and now he finds himself 3rd. So he's up 9 spots from where he started. Maybe we can see that number 99 machine not only have a podium, but a win here. If we do, in fact, get a long run, maybe he can be faster than Cody McKinney.
Well, he needs to stop blinking right now. Notice that truck is flashing here during this little caution section. So I don't know if that's just a really temporary situation for that number 99. But yeah, P3 started 12th. He's already up 9 spots, and he's got a really fast truck for sure. Quick shout out to one of our partners over here, and it's going to be iRacing iFlag, the standard for open source race marshaling light board system. All that means it's a 64 LED 3D printed unit that sits on your desk. Completely customizable too. You can choose different colors for the base. You can add different covers, how you want to present the product. It's really unique and one of a kind. But it gives you all the iRacing notifications. So I think up to 30 different commands that can be sent to this unit. It'll display it in a really bright, vibrant color situation, and you can change the brightness from low, medium, and bright. And it just really completes the rig, you know. So if you're looking to do so, head over to iRacingIFlag.com. Anything you purchase from there, of course, you're going to use that Super Nerd checkout code. It's going to save you 15%. Anything you do purchase from Jeff over at iRacingIFlag.com. And then lastly, Nerd Swag. If you want to support the nerds in any shape or form, of course, you can follow our social pages, but also any one of our products from our website. We got the Shirtitudes. It's a new lineup of 34 shirts right now, and that list will continue to grow. And of course, we have the Martin Sports exclusive gloves for the team over at Nerditudes with the jerseys, the gloves, and then we also have bottles and mouse pads and a couple other things for you guys. So check it out. That's going to be swag.nerditudes.gg. And Pace Car is going to dip here for the 4th time. We're going to go green flag for the 5th time this evening, led by the number 28 Cody McKinney and the 25 of Stephen Hollingsworth. A very familiar setup here on the front row. Green flag is out. Great restart for everybody once again.
And Stephen Hollingsworth's going to try to arc that corner as much as possible, try to get as close as he can to the 28 off exit. Got a little loose there, opened up the door for JP Burns. He'll head to the inside this time, heading into 3.
I am just impressed of how this 99 is driving right now. It is playoff time, and he is showing up strong, like underneath the 25, potentially going to find himself in P2 at the line this time. Does not get there. Virtual tie there. Yeah, it is. It's both exactly tied at the line right there, but the 25 drives it deep into 1, makes it stick, and I think, well, nope, he's going to, of course, you pay for it on exit when you try to do that on entry. So now they're back to side by side, and this is allowing Cody to just get out there by a half a second.
And obviously, JP Burns wants to make quick work of Hollingsworth and vice versa, but this time oh, no, Hollingsworth into the wall a little bit. I almost thought he was going to slam the wall, come down into Brody Hanna, but that 25 machine had a good wheel man piloting that number 25 here tonight, because that nearly could have been devastating and absolutely race-ending to that 25 machine, but was able to save it. He'll slap back into the 4th position, now under fire from Richie Coy into turns 3 and 4.
That was one of the best saves in a close quarter situation there. Could have easily made a mistake and taken out multiple trucks here in the front, but great driving there to keep it off everybody. Maybe just a slight scrape of the wall off corner exit. But we're seeing Ryan Chapman getting lapped down real early here. That truck obviously real slow from that wreck from about 6 or 7 laps previous at this point. As JP Burns goes underneath him. Now the 23 Brody Hanna. A lot of room given by the 27, knowing he is in no competition with these guys right now.
Yeah, and obviously, that's just unfortunate. Oh, he's going to get right in front of these guys, though. Almost a huge moment for Richie Coy. I think he nearly, if not, had to have been inches from hitting the rear bumper of Ryan Chapman there off turn number 4. Everybody trying to make work of him. If I were Ryan Chapman, it's just hard if you're Ryan Chapman, though, because, there's no if. It's kind of just like you have to ride around. An outside lane is obviously the go-to for being a lapper, but when you get off the corner, man, you are right in the exit line. It is so hard to get to the inside. There's no time. You see him right there. There's Kyle Milliken heading to the bottom. Here comes Black, Schaefer, who has some damage to that right side. If you're Ryan Chapman, man, you're just trying to stay out of these guys' way, no doubt about it.
This is the tricky part here. They were side by side getting to the 27, so the moment they went 3 wide, it actually benefited the 29, Tommy Schaefer, able to drive past the 88, TJ Bartel, and now on the outside of the 08, Sylvain Jolly. Little wiggle from the 29 that time through turns 3 and 4. Turn 4, obviously, it's definitely Tommy's worst corner, no doubt about it. So, but able to clean it up right there, get back to single file, files in right behind behind TJ Bartel after that little wiggle there off of 4. But it looks like Ryan Chapman cycles through basically the entire field at this point. So they're going to go back single file through the entire field here, and a lot more space now between each truck than what we saw in the previous restart.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the thing that we're all keeping an eye on. Last time around, JP Burns just a little bit faster than Cody McKinney by about a 10th and a half. Maybe this 99 has something for the guy who's been dominating all night. How would you feel, Jeremy, if we could... Oh, we have a caution on the racetrack. Couple guys I know shuffling through the leaderboards right now. Maybe Tommy Schaefer, couple of other guys. Marshall Johnson. Going to take a look at the replay here. And Tommy Schaefer heads up the track and ultimately just gets loose and then hits the inside retaining wall. Not seeing anybody else involved, but that 29 machine, a little bit of damage to that right side.
There's more to this. Right in front of them, the 14 and the 88, Bartel and Lane Allen get in contact, and it's going to send the 88 loose. He's going to cross over in front of the 33, and the 33 is going to slam into the back of Nerd Motorsports driver TJ Bartel. And I saw the 91 of Justin Diltz come on the radio too, trying to see where he was involved. He actually came down and crossed over to the number 9 of Marshall Johnson, set him spinning. So about 5 trucks involved in this one here.
Yeah, lots of drivers involved in this one. And there you go, right there. Just a chain reaction. Everybody trying to get involved. Marshall Johnson, though, man, heads up driving. Talk about if it's not the Lucky Dog Award for the Get a Grip, it's a Get a Grip Award to that number 9 of Marshall Johnson, man. Watch this right here. He's going to get tagged in the right rear after the 91 of Delta slowing down, trying to avoid this spinning number 88. Gets caught. Watch this. Locks it up. Ultimately turns the wheel left. Gets back going. No damage, no nothing. Only the contact from the right rear, man. That's my Get a Grip driver for sure. No doubt about it tonight.
And that was over 90 degrees of rotation. He was perpendicular to the racing surface and then some, and was able to straighten it back out before getting to turn 3 without spinning it. That was complete car control. I know iRacing is going to give you the 2x for loss of control, but I don't think that was loss of control. I think that was just great driving. You're going to see it. Look at this. Completely 90 degrees and probably a little bit more, probably closer to 100. And then gets it going back straight. All 4 tires locked up. Wheel yanked hard to the left. Rolls off the brake. Lets the car just take the the natural forces of gravity to get you back going straight, and there he is.
What a drive there from the 9 of Marshall Johnson. If I had to give that Get a Grip award to anybody here tonight, and in a sense, that's the thing we've been talking about throughout the season. Sometimes we see a really damn cool save, we'll be like, hey, that guy deserves a Get a Grip award. It might not be a lucky dog, but it's a Get a Grip award. And Marshall Johnson by far gets that in my book here tonight so far because, man, that car, like, I don't think anybody understands, especially viewers possibly, is the fact that that car, like you talked about, was perpendicular, was 90 degrees facing towards the outside wall. He could have kept going. He could have not been on the brake. He could have been on the throttle trying to get off it. He could have slammed the outside wall. He could have gotten to somebody else. He could have overcorrected. There's so many different possibilities, but the fact that he was able to keep it locked up, correct the wheel, get back going straight, that was an amazing job by Marshall Johnson. That ultimately could be one of the moves that could, end up being one of those things where he can make sure he goes on and gets the top 10, top 5 later in this race, possibly.
Yeah, 100% there. And I think this is going to be the final lap before you go back to green flag for the 6th time this evening. Yep, pace car lights are out. These guys are going to file 2 by 2. And look at the 00 Tyler Brown. He's one of those guys that are right at the bubble in 12th place in points. And he has been right around 10th place or so. But now he's going to be restarting this thing in P5. And before we go back to green flag, I want to shout out Dusty Pete's, one of our newest partners with the Nerditudes, hobby store with a whole lot more. They're based out of New York, and Dusty Pete's is the place for all things nerdy. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name. They have a plethora of things. They have a bunch of comic book collections. They have a lot of trading cards from Magic, Pokemon, sports cards. For NASCAR, they have die-cast replicas and a whole lot more. So if you want to head yourself over to dustypete's.com, check out what they have, and anything you do purchase from them, Super Nerd for 10% off. As Jason, we're about to go back to green flag.
Yeah, we're about to go back green flag here. This time by Cody McKinney, JP Burns front row. This time they'll fire off into the restart zone. Green flag yet again after that 5th caution. McKinney leads him down to 1.
Great restart by the number 28 there, coming to turn 1. Clears JP Burns, 23 Brody Hanna right on his tail end here. As the inside starts to build up real quickly every single time on these restarts. A little shuffling here. 23 moves up in front of the number 99. It's going to drop him back to 3rd place. Quickly closes that gap right in front of the 19 Richie Coy. A little bit of bumper-to-bumper contact. But Stephen Hollingsworth going to be freight trained a little bit early on this one.
Tell you what, heads up driving by JP Burns. I actually think he kind of let off the throttle a little bit on exit to let that 23 in, to make sure he wasn't going to be side by side with him down the backstretch, entering 3 and possibly out 4 to lose more position. So instead he said, I'm going to sacrifice 2nd. I'm going to give it to Brody Hanna, and I'm going to slap back in 3rd so I can run the line that I wanted. But look at this battle back behind these guys. Tyler Brown nearly gets in the left rear quarter panel of Hollingsworth entering turn 3, and then he'll make quick work of him. Brown clears him for the 5th spot, this time all 4.
Just inside the top 10 here, the 42 of Kyle Milliken underneath fire from the 22 of Michael Blackner here as everybody else goes single file in front of these guys. 42 gets clear. Now Sylvain Jolly's going to make quick work of Michael through turns 1 and 2. They're going to go single file here down the back straightaway as they're going to be coming up to lap 101, which will put us exactly 50 laps to go in this event. The 14 and the 18 right now side by side. who turns 3 and 4 right behind them. Tommy Schaefer almost makes contact with the back bumper of the 14 of Lane Allen, and they're going to try to go side by side on the front stretch.
Yeah, and back up just a few more positions. Oh no, the 16 gets a little loose, almost gets into the 25. If not, it was minimal contact entering turn number 1. They're going to door bang almost down the back straightaway. Not happy, possibly, between the 16 and 25. Milwaukee is going to run hard into the corner, get by him really quickly. Hollingsworth will let him have the spot, and this time by the guy who's highest up of the non-playoff guys, Robert Milliken, going to head up to the 6th spot.
And right behind them in turns 3 and 4, the 42, Milliken shot up the track and tagged the 48, pushed him up into the 3rd groove, backed him up, and now he gets loose off of turn number 2. Sylvain Jolly in the 0-8 is going to take quick advantage of that. Goes for the pass here in turn 3, cannot get it gripped up on the entry side of 3, maybe backing up the corner, and there he goes. Sylvain Jolly is going to pass the 48 of Curtis Vollmer here, and now Michael Blackner has another chance at Curtis.
Here comes Blackner down to the inside of that 48 machine into turn number 1. He'll wrap the bottom, kind of get that arc into the center of the corner. Vollmer will fall back into the clutches of Justin Diltz, and down the back straightaway, Michael Blackner moves himself up into the top 10 with Diltz under fire now from Schaefer into 3.
Yeah, I don't know what Schaefer did on this truck this time, but it looks like it's been a little more stable in these past couple of restarts here. Running a good line right now, putting great pressure on that 91 for sure. 91 defends that entry, goes deep early into the corner, which is going to pay off for entry, but on center to exit, this is where the 29 should advance a little bit here, and here we go. A little bit of a lift from Justin Diltz, but the 29 does not attack, holds the outside part of the track, and now 91's going to slide into Vollmer here, make some contact, going to once again push the 48 into the 3rd groove as he is now passed by the 91.
The Diltz got very loose off turn 2 and ultimately set himself up for a very shallow entry into turn number 3, washed up into the 48, and you could just imagine if you're the 48 of Curtis Vollmer, you got to be a little bit, having that fire underneath your driver's seat because he wants that position badly. Been so fast all night long. We'll see what he can do here to 3.
Yeah, this is still very entertaining, and this is all outside your top 10 here, but looking back at the leaders right now, Cody McKinney has a 7/10 of a second lead over second place Brody Hanna. JP Burns holding a really strong 3rd place right now, finding himself in podium. Still just really impressed with how this 99 is performing late into this season here at the flat track, which, I mean, coming into this thing too, you got to remember, we have not raced here in so long here, at least in the official stuff, right? So this is new to some of these guys on this track, and so this is maybe playing to the rookie advantage for a lot of these guys, like the 99 JP Burns, who just hit it right on the setup. So he's doing great, keeping it in the top 3. Tyler Brown, also, he's one of the bubble drivers here in 5th place. He's doing great. This is going to put both these guys up for early success in this first stage of the playoffs.
You look at Tyler Brown, he's currently the highest up in the running order right now, plus 12 from where he started. So, I mean, you look back, he must have started around the top 15 possibly. I mean, he's been very, very strong all night long, continuously getting better and better and better. And now he's inside that top 5, possibly in position to get a podium on the bubble, trying to make sure he has a safe entry into the round of 12. And another driver who we haven't really talked about all night long, surprisingly, is the guy 1 spot up in front of him, that being Richie Coy, driving the number 19 Nerditudes Martin Sports Ford F-150. He's had a quiet night, man. We only brought it up once with him doing his sigh of relief. There he goes, right there. Did it again. That's the Richie. I got to get a shirt one of these days. I got to screenshot one of these and just, kind of like if you know moments. And if you see Richie Coy giving that sigh of relief, if you know, right? But this number 19 machine has been very quiet all night long, running inside the top 10. But now he's up to the 5th spot, or excuse me, the 4th spot. So what can this 19 do? We know he is very strong on short runs, medium runs, but on these long runs, this 19 is always strong. At every track we go to, maybe Richie Coy can kind of sneak in a podium here tonight.
Yeah, and I love the shirt idea there. You can see he's holding his breath through the center of the corner. When he gets to exit, you just see it all the exhale here, just like, all right, I got some moment here to breathe. Goes to the corner, holds it again. I love these camera angles, man. I love how Ryan Chapman and Richie Coy have just been continuously giving their camera feed to us each and every single week. Gives us an insight. If you're not a racer that races all the time in the sim world, gives you a perspective of what it looks like to stay super focused and try to do what you can do around these tracks here. But yeah, very quiet. This is the first time we've talked about Richie basically in 100 laps, 110 laps. So just kind of quietly flying underneath the radar. But, you know, Richie's always bad fast and definitely one of your championship favorites for sure.
Yeah, definitely was my championship favorite, if I can actually speak. Last week, heading out of Daytona, I remember, Jeremy, I talked about, obviously, Cody McKinney winning the Season B title, but really all because Richie Coy went on vacation, you know, and obviously I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I mean, you know, we don't know where Richie Coy would have finished for those 1 to 2 races he was gone for. So, I mean, Richie Coy ultimately was the favorite heading in here. You could make an argument and say Cody McKinney was the favorite, but Richie Coy has been very stout all year long. As of tonight, heading in, 18 top 10s, 14 top 5s compared to McKinney's 18 top 10s, so they're equal on that level. But Richie's just got 2 more top 10s than Cody McKinney. But in McKinney's defense, he also has more stage wins, 7 against Richie Coy's 3. So they're pretty equal when you look at it, Jeremy, here, because Richie's only missed 2 races. Who knows what Richie's stats would look like if he were here for those 1 to 2 races that he missed. So still, in my opinion, Richie Coy is still my favorite tonight. But I tell you what, if JP Burns and Cody McKinney keep having runs that they have like they have tonight, I expect those 2 to make it to the Final Four when we do, in fact, get it to the round of 4.
I mean, it looks like it so far. In 99, you saw him right at the bottom half of your screen. Try to look underneath the 23 of Brody Hanna for a potential pass in turn 1, but Brody was able to drive it in deep enough and block that run. So maybe the 99's going to have to back it up and try once more here. But yeah, JP I think is a little bit faster than Brody. And if he can get some fresh air on that nose of that Ford F-150, he can maybe do what he was doing the last run, right? Which is kind of equaling the lap times of Cody McKinney. But here we go. He's going to slide up a little bit through the center of 1 and 2. It's going to make Brody Hanna check up a little bit. It's going to miss his marks. And that's going to make quick work for the 99 to pass Brody Hanna. Sometimes you got to be a little aggressive. Even if it was a mistake or not, it made the guy on the outside shift up, and it made that pass a little easier for JP. He's going to resume now in P2.
And now we get to see what I talked about right before we got that caution with Ryan Chapman. What can John Paul Burns, a.k.a. known as JP Burns, what can he do here on this long run if we do, in fact, get to that long run at lap 150? Will he be able to close on Cody McKinney? We know he was faster at a certain point, about a second, or it's not a second, but a tenth and a half, 2 tenths faster. So we'll see now that he's slotted into second, up 10 spots from where he started. Will JP be able to run down Cody McKinney? Because he would just absolutely steal this win away from Cody McKinney. And I guarantee you, in his eyes, it's going to look like a really hard-fought win. But if JP just, in fact, gets there, it's like taking candy from a baby. The baby's got all the candy, that being Cody McKinney. And then one time you take him, man, you make him cry. Next thing you know, it all goes haywire for if you're Cody McKinney. So JP might be able to get there. We'll have to see here in the next few laps because he's just a little bit faster right now here as they work on a lap 118.
And these 2 guys on your screen right now, Richie Coy and Tyler Brown. Tyler has been faster than Richie for the past 5 laps or so. He's playing somewhat of the patient game, trying to figure out where he can make the pass. He's looked a couple times. Richie's held off that position to this point. But Richie doesn't make mistakes, right? Very rarely do you see it happen. So Tyler Brown has to figure out how to back up the corner and get a great launch, or how to attack the corner enough to maybe get underneath the 19 here. This time he backs it up a little bit here, so no effort's going to be made as they cross the line for lap 118. So we're getting close to 30 laps to go in this event. But yeah, we're starting to see some of the tire wear. Richie, Brody Hanna especially. Brody, compared to his teammate, the 19, Richie, is a little bit worse when it comes to long run management here, and the 19 has caught the 23. So if this runs green the rest of the way, I would not be surprised if we see Brody fall back to 5th, 6th, 7th place. But he also can talk to his teammate Richie and get some pointers to maybe secure running in the top 5.
Yeah, but Brody's also done a really good job. We've had one, long green flag run where Brody was still pretty strong, so maybe he could stay in that top 3. Maybe he could stay in that top 5. We'll just have to see. But obviously, everybody's truck's handling very differently, and especially with all of the tire degradation and whatnot. We'll have to see where he does in fact slot in. You see this pack right back here with Sherwood Williford, who's in 13th, which is a nice little rebound tonight, considering being way deep in the field earlier on. Then there's TJ Bartell, Marshall Johnson. These guys are battling. I'm sure they're kind of just trying to learn the track. Not to mention the fact, too, that some of these guys are about a second off of the pace, but everybody's still learning this track every single lap, considering that it's still pretty new here for these FTSR guys.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they run a lot of official stuff, right? And so Milwaukee not being on that schedule, unless you catch them on a week 13 situation in the officials for iRacing, you're not going to run here at Milwaukee unless it's some off car, maybe like an open wheel car or the modifieds or something of that nature. So, but we're seeing some lap traffic being passed. Alan Duranko is now going to be passed by the 23, the 19, and the 00 here through turns 3 and 4. Duranko giving up plenty of space there, running into the third groove, no problems there. But this track, or these trucks rather, have really just kind of spaced themselves out once more, except for this battle, which we continue to focus on, which is second, third, fourth, and fifth. Easily the best racing on the track at this time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're looking at the 0019. They're side by side. This is the battle for the 4th spot. Richie Coy trying to make quick work of Tyler Brown, but Brown's going to fight hard on the inside. Almost contact. Entering turn number 3. Opens up the door for Stephen Hollingsworth, who's been basically top 3 all night long. He's looking to try to find a way around these guys. They work on to lap 124. Hollingsworth waiting right behind him, trying to see if one will wash up, that being Tyler Brown. He gets in a little too deep that time by. Exiting turn number 2. Still dead even down the backstretch.
And this has allowed the 23 Hannah just to split this gap from just a little bit to over a second now in front of these guys. They continue to run side by side. Tyler Brown misses the corner entry there, goes wide through the center, pushes the 19 of Richie Coy up, and he makes the pass happen, just like we saw JP Durham do with Brody Hanna just a little bit ago. And now Hollingsworth back on the attack here underneath the 19, makes the pass happen here. So we're going to resume the 25 now in 4th place, Richie Coy 5th, and here comes the 16 of Malikian. He's making a strong run here.
Robert Malikian, so fast at Daytona last week, ultimately got involved in an early accident, took him out of contention to win that race, and it was a night of what could have been for that number 16. We call him the Heartbreak Kid. Man, that had to have been one of the most heartbreaking moments for him in his FTSR career. But here he is, yet again, top 10, top 5 run, currently slotted in the 7th spot, right where he started. Possibly can get into the top 5 by the time this race is over.
19 underneath the 00 here. Tyler Brown through 3 and 4. This is going to complete lap 126 as we're now getting close to the 20 to go mark here for the Milwaukee 150. 00 Tyler Brown a little loose off of exit 4. Let's go out the 16 of Malikian to make a great effort here and makes the pass happen. So find that 16 right now. P6 on the boards as Kyle Milliken's going to follow suit around the 00.
I think this 00 of Tyler Brown just kind of tried to work on Richie Coy way too much, and Richie Coy just used up the outside lane a little too much as well, because he's battling with that 16 of Robert Malikian, and Stephen Hollingsworth was able to get by him. So maybe that 0019 going to start to fall back just a little bit, ever so slightly, as the laps wind down here, just because they were battling for such a long period of time.
00 Ty Brown really misses that center of the corner there, and the 42 is easily going to pass him down the back straightaway, coming to turn number 3 now. Shout out to one of our partners real quick at Sim Racing Points. It's your all-inclusive league points management system that allows league admins and owners to the ability to completely track your league stats and more with just one simple upload of the racing export. But they don't stop there. If you're an avid webmaster and you want to create custom widgets, no problem. The software's got you. If you want to customize a full entire page layout, no problem. Sim Racing Point still has you. So you can do whatever you want, and you can display a plethora of different stats for your league. So if you want to make your league look professional at a great price point, which I still think it might be $0.00, so you might want to try to check that out. FREE. That's simracingpoints.com. Give them a look.
Yeah, and obviously Brandon Elder does a really good job over there at Sim Racing Points, but unfortunately not so good of a night here tonight for him, currently 22nd up on the board. But unfortunately for him, another man's loss is another man's treasure, as they say, and there's a lot of guys up here tonight who are in contention to get a great points day. Obviously, JP Burns coming in tonight, 16th in the playoff leaderboard, still trying to track down Cody McKenney, still faster than him by almost a whole second just this last time around. Or not a whole second, my bad, a whole 10th, that is, last time around. So he's looking to try to have a good night. Tyler Brown up inside the top 10 was on the bubble entering tonight, that being 12th, right above the cutoff line. He's trying to have a good night as well. And obviously Robert Milikian not making the playoffs. He's trying to have himself a good night as well after having a very, very heartbreaking Daytona week last week.
I'm not sure if there's any required green flag pit stops. I don't think so at this point, being under 20 laps to go and no one's come down. So I think that's out the window. So basically, minus the top guys right now that are still kind of underneath a blanket, with 19 and 16 being two of those trucks, the rest of the field is really just tapered off. So if you just kind of run your own line, I think most of these positions on the track running right now, if we stay green, are going to remain in that same exact position, maybe minus 1 or 2 position swaps in total. So just kind of hang on the rest of the race. We're getting some cloud coverage here. I don't know how that's going to play into effect for these trucks, but we've seen from time to time these clouds starting to poke out. But it's a little cloudier on the track now than where it has been all race long. Turn 3 looks like it's underneath a little bit of sunlight, but 1 and 2 completely shaded. That will drop the track temp a couple degrees at best. But you're seeing the 25 get really close now to 23. Brody Hanna, this is for the battle for podium position P3.
And Hollingsworth trying to redeem himself after falling back just a little bit earlier on in this race. That being only a handful of laps ago. Now trying to work on Brody Hanna. He has caught him into turns 3 and 4 they go. He'll ride that bottom just a little bit better than Brody Hanna. I definitely think this 25 was probably set up for the long run. Now that we're starting to see it with all the adjustments he's made under pit road circumstances, I think that 25 is going to get that 23.
At this moment, I'm going to have to agree with you here, but it's going to take a great run there from the 25 on corner exit to get the launch that he needs to get underneath the 23's bumper. Brody's another one of those drivers who just doesn't make too many mistakes, so you kind of have to capitalize where you can. Speaking of mistakes, the 23 misses the entry right there. That's all she wrote. The 25 saw the opportunity quickly, drives, goes 3 wide with his teammate Tony Solari off corner exit. Kind of sketchy right there. These guys are going to remain directly side by side, but ultimately this position will belong to the 25 as they go through 1 and 2, and that pass is complete. Move that 25 Stephen Hollingsworth into podium P3.
He gets really loose there off turn number 2, though. Brody Hanna got a little bit of a head of steam down the back straightaway, just not enough, but into turns 3 and 4. He'll get right up on that rumble strip. Couldn't exactly get to the 25 to give him a little bit of a boot, scoot, and boogie, but off turn number 4, Stephen Hollingsworth still able to hold that spot while Brody Hanna continuously starts to fade away from his rear bumper, falling into the clutches of his teammate Richie Coy and Robert Milikian in the 5th and 6th spot.
Yeah, just great racing, really, inside this top 5, or even just outside of it for that matter. Everybody else, like I said, still really tapered off, so we continue to focus on these guys in this top 5 position right now as we see Matt Keach. Remember, he joined us a few weeks ago at Indianapolis in the booth. He's just in there with his casual, little late entry there, but I'll still accept it, man. Welcome to the broadcast late on. We got 13 laps for you to hear, so if you're here to stick out the rest of it, that's cool. If not, no problem whatsoever. But just racing right now, 25, 23, 19, 16, still almost underneath the blanket here, looking back from the 23's roof camera here, looking at his teammate Richie Coy, about a truck length or 2 separation here. 23 gets a little bit better run on corner exit this time around over his teammate, which is great. If you're going to do that every single time, you're going to basically secure that 4th place at the moment.
For sure, and obviously this 23, he's just trying to hold down that bottom. I'm sure he wants a top 5, the best he can do. I mean, Brody was 3rd coming into tonight's event, so he's got a comfortable margin to the cutoff line. This is just going to make him feel more comfortable here once this race comes to a close. Same thing for Richie Coy, Cody McKinney, even though Cody McKinney looks like he could very well drive away with this win with now just almost 10 laps to go. But you could bet, now that the playoffs have started, Richie Coy is not going to be nearly as friendly to his teammates as he normally would. He wants to go after this. Sure, he's going to treat him with respect compared to everybody else, but he still wants to try to pass every position he can to make it up towards the front and get as many points as he can. So remember, maximize points. That's the thing with these playoffs, Jeremy. You want to be super, super consistent. Ever since this playoff format was implemented back in 2014 in the NASCAR Cup Series, and then in 2017 with the implementation of stages with the playoffs as well, points became a whole lot more important. So you want to make sure you maximize as much points as you can today, and Cody McKinney is looking to do just that under 10 laps to go this time into one.
I want to make a quick mention, too. One of the playoff contenders, the 18 Joseph McKinney, has backed out of the server. That's going to put him 21st on the finishing order here tonight. He came into this 13th in points just underneath that cut line. So this is going to really just increase the chances of him not, or at least having to go to a must-win situation here, because you only have 3 races per stage in the playoff session. So he's going to have to really figure out the next 2 weeks and hammer down and get some top 5s or get a W to secure himself in here. But coming up the line this time, we're going to be 7 or 8 laps to go, and Cody McKinney 3.5 seconds over JP Burns, JP 5 seconds over 3rd place Stephen Hollingsworth. So the top 2 without any mistakes are got this thing locked down, but that 4th, 5th, and 6th position right now still remains the best race on the track.
Yeah, I wonder real quick if we could take a look at here at the track map, here at Milwaukee, as you look at it presented by thank you very much, Dustin, presented by iRacing iFlag. Look at how spread out that this race has been, because this race is dwindling down, obviously, and we're not getting that super, super long green flag run, but it's still a long green flag run. Look at how spread out everybody is, Jeremy, just like you talked about earlier on. But this pack, all the way from heading with Richie Coy down to 3 now, everybody's kind of starts to get more bunched up. So this is all points available on the line for these guys. So this also, with me saying that, kind of presents the opportunity for maybe that dreaded yellow flag that Cody McKinney would not like to see. 6 laps to go. We'll have to see what happens here.
Can't believe you said those words.
I didn't say that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just hearing things. But as laps wind down, I'll love to give a quick look at our weekly schedule here for the Nerd TV guys for YouTube and Facebook. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to catch us 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Monday is the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series from the FTSR guys. And then Tuesday, we jump over to the RSR Next Generation Cup Series. And then Wednesdays, well, you're watching it now, that's the Martin Sports Truck Series back at FTSR. So 3 nights a week, continued coverage here for the remainder of the year. So please, if you want to jump on our socials, jump onto the YouTube and Facebook, give us a quick follow, like, what you got to do to promote us anywhere, shape, or form. We would greatly appreciate any of that. But yeah, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, you're going to catch us every single week.
Yeah, absolutely a great broadcast schedule that we have over here. So much action-packed racing from FTSR to RSR, all the races that end in R. So obviously, definitely check us out for sure as this race dwindles down. Going to be 9 races remaining after tonight for these guys in the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series, and then they will head into the first race for the playoffs for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series on Monday. Should be a fun time, no doubt about it. But man, Jeremy, Cody McKinney has been putting a absolute clinic on these guys here tonight at Milwaukee. Practically a flag to flag for this driver, the number 28 Toyota Tundra TRD machine. We'll have to see if he can hold on for just 2 more laps, trying to clinch his way into the round of 12.
I feel like with this performance, he feels like the underdog. He's like, I know Richie Coy's the favorite, but I'm going to come out here at Milwaukee and say, hey, guys, I'm the favorite. So right now, just dominant fashion. If you want to compare the two, 10.5 seconds separates the 19 and the 28. So just an excellent drive. Flag to flag, as you said, minus a couple cautions. That's taken the 20 out of the lead. But when Cody has not been in the lead, he grabbed it back real quick within a lap or two. So coming to the line for the second to final time. White flag is out, presented by absolutely nobody here. Open track, no one in front, no one behind. Just got to hit the marks 4 more times around this 1 mile track. And we're going to see our first winner of the 2023 season. And also one of the guys in the playoff contention is going to lock himself in for the second part of the playoff system through 3 and 4 for the final time. The Martin Sports winning moment is the dominant fashion of which Cody McKinney has put on display here tonight. Cody McKinney wins the Milwaukee 150.
What a great job by Cody McKinney, man. Just an absolute clinic here tonight for the driver of the 28 machine. Great run for JP Burns, finishing 4.5, almost 5 seconds back, man. Just the kind of night that he needed. Stephen Hollingsworth, another strong run for him. Came into this race 8th in the playoffs. Sure enough, that should be able to bump him up as well, even with the stage points he got as well.
Yeah, no question there. And 28's going to come down to his burnouts here. Let's see if he knows how to do a burnout. We've seen so many guys love to call out, love to hit the wall, but Cody's been pretty good at these things. We'll see how he does here. And as he does the burnouts, we're going to go over our unofficial results here tonight, presented by Dusty Pete's. And Cody McKinney going to take this thing P1, locks himself into the second round of the playoffs. JP Burns, excellent drive, much needed points here for that truck to set himself up into this first stage. Stephen Hollingsworth finishes in 3rd. Brody Hannon in the 23 finishes P4. Richie Coy 5th. Robert Malikian finishes 6th. 7th place belongs to Kyle Milliken. 8th, Tyler Brown. 9th, Sylvain Jolly. And Michael Blackner rounds out tonight's top 10.
Rest of the field back to 22nd. You have 11th, Allen. 12th, Bartel. 13th, Curtis Vollmer after a tough night that he had late in the going after a strong run earlier on. 14th goes to Johnson. 15th, Williford. 16th goes to Tommy Schaefer. 17th, Dilt. 18th, Taranco. 19th, Laurie. 20th, Ryan Chapman after a night he'd like to forget. 21st, Joey McKinney. And 22nd goes to Brandon Elder in that number 51.
And that's going to bring us to a full screen commercial break. We're going to get our top 3. And it's the first time in 4 weeks we will not talk to the 88 TJ Bartel. But we have Cody, JP, and Steven waiting for us here shortly. We'll be back after a few messages. And welcome back here. This time is for the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We have our top three gathered up for you guys this evening. And first, we're going to lead off with the number 25 of Stephen Hollingsworth in that Space Force Ford F-150. Stephen, welcome to the podium.
Hey, appreciate it.
Hey, man, great drive out there. I know a lot of handling issues were through a lot of the trucks here throughout the field. And to start off the playoffs, this is not a pretty shabby spot to end up.
Yeah, I'll take a P3 in the first race. It was a lot of fun. I just couldn't get off the exits. I just couldn't get back to the gas. I had too much wheel in it or something was just going on. Cody was like 3 mile an hour faster than me. It felt like I could visibly see him walking me coming out of the corner. So I'm happy with a P3.
Congratulations, Stephen, on finishing P3, man. And obviously, you came into tonight eighth, just set in with the eighth seed heading in to tonight for race one of the playoffs. And now you got to look ahead. You obviously have Kansas and Bristol heading up for these next two races. So with a run like you had here tonight, how do you go into those next two races knowing you had a very strong run here tonight?
Uh, I don't know. Just work on the setup and try to get as comfortable as possible. Kansas is going to be really fun because I know on fresh tires you can dive in into the bottom of the track, but as the tires wear off and the run goes on, you want to go up to the top. And I'm pretty quick at Kansas. I feel like I've had a lot of good races there over the years. So Bristol is going to be a crapshoot. So hopefully we got a good run here. We'll get a good run at Kansas, and Bristol will just take what we can get.
Yeah, if you do another great performance like you did tonight at Kansas, I think that'll be pretty easy for you to lock yourself in for at least round two of the playoffs here, man. Congratulations. You had the short run setup as always, and you brought the long run setup with you tonight. Great performance overall. But the floor is yours. Final shout out before we let you go.
Yeah, I just appreciate you guys for broadcasting it so we can go back and watch it. And it's a lot of fun watching the mistakes and stuff and learning from a different perspective and just the league admins. And I appreciate them doing what they do.
I appreciate the words, man. Go ahead and celebrate the P3 and get ready for Kansas next week.
See you.
That was number 25 there, Stephen Hollingsworth. And now it's time to bring in the guy we talked to earlier this evening, number 99 of JP Burns. You got a copy, man?
Got a copy.
We brought you in there during the stage break, and you loosened up the truck a little bit. And I think you found the magic touch, man. Congratulations on P2. How well did that truck handle after that setup change?
Definitely helped push me up to second place there. Like I was just riding, fifth, sixth there. And then it just helped propel it so much better. It feels nice to get a top three finish, my first one. So quite happy about it.
Well, hey, man, that's awesome for you. Obviously, congratulations, JP, on finishing P2, man. And we were talking about it all night, man. You came into this race tonight 16th in the playoff grid, obviously tied for the 13th spot in a sense, only 1 point behind Tyler Brown, who was listed as the 12th seed coming in above the cutoff line. But with runs like you had tonight, man, do you consider yourself possibly an underdog to head for this championship?
Yeah, I needed a good finish because I'm unfortunately away the next 2 weeks. So I needed to get as many points as I could. So I'm hoping that, the next 2 weeks my competitors don't finish too well and I can pull in some points to get me into the next round and go on from there.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tricky situation for you, knowing that you're going to be missing Kansas and Bristol. So hopefully this second place does it for you tonight. But before we let you go, would you love to give any final shout outs?
Yeah, well, yeah, most definitely our setup guy, Alex. I, couldn't have finished second without him putting this great setup together for the team. And, Martin Sports for allowing us to put the logo on the truck, Elevated Esports for putting me on this year and having faith in me. So it feels nice to put a good finish together for the team.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, congrats once again, and enjoy whatever you're doing, I guess, the next 2 weeks off. And then I guess we'll see you for round two of the playoffs here in just a few weeks.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. You guys take care.
You too, man. Thank you. And that was number 99, JP Burns. Now it's time to load up the Martin Sports Victory Lane scene here as we're going to talk to one of the most dominant performances of this year, Cody McKinney. Welcome back to the booth. Congratulations on the first win of the 2023 season.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Walk us through that preparation tonight for that setup because no one could touch you. I mean, JP Burns at times in the back half of this race maybe could hang with you for a little bit, but at the end of the night, like that truck was just on a rail. I saw no movement in that truck all race long, at least from the TV camera perspective. Just kind of, how'd you get this thing done tonight?
And I couldn't have done it without everybody at Premier Racing Setups. They gave me a bad fast Toyota Tundra TRD, and it was just my job to practice as much as I could and just do what I could to stay out front and not let it get away from me.
Well, hey, Cody, congratulations, man, on the first win of the 2023 season, man. And now that you're going to be locked here into the next round of the playoffs for the round of 12, man, what is your goal here for the next two races for Kansas and then Bristol is what Stephen Hollingsworth deemed as a crapshoot. Do you had to go into those races knowing that, hey, man, I should try to maximize everything and get all and sweep this entire round, or do you go in there trying to maximize points, that being stage points, and then going for the best finish that you can?
Yeah, the plan is to kind of realistically would like to win, but plans just try to maximize as many points as I can. I won't be in town during Bristol. I'm gonna be on vacation, so tonight definitely took a lot of pressure off my shoulders for worrying about that and getting out of this round. But yeah, going in next week is same goal, try and win, but get as many points as I can.
Bristol time slot seems to be vacation hour for a lot of these guys over here. It seems like that we keep talking to, but man, yeah, that definitely takes the pressure off for sure. Next 2 weeks are just, or at least next week is going to be a fun one for you, and you have to get geared up in just a few weeks for round number 2. But congratulations once again on this dominant performance. Almost every single lap belonged to you tonight. Final shout outs before we let you go.
Yeah, once again, everybody at Premier Racing Setups for the amazing truck tonight. 180 flood drive properties, Rocket Racing graphics, and unrivaled cinematography. Brian Kennels 213, Simware, and everybody, all the admins for hosting the league, and you guys for broadcasting the shows.
I appreciate the words, man. Congrats once again, and we will catch you next week at Kansas.
Appreciate it. Y'all take care.
You too. Driver number 28, Cody McKinney, and him missing Bristol. Unlike JP Burns, he's locked in, so he has no pressure. Man, JP Burns with such a great run here tonight, and knowing he's going to miss the next 2 weeks. Jason, what do you think his chances are of actually advancing into the round of 12?
I think I have a better opportunity at going into the waters here towards the end of the summer and getting attacked by a shark here on the Jersey Shore than probably JP Burns making the next round of the playoffs, man, because it's going to take everybody who's behind him in points here when he heads out of tonight at Milwaukee to probably have a really, really bad race. And they need to have not only one, but they need to have 2 bad races. It's going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks he's gone, man. And with a run that he had like tonight, it's going to be a big what if. What if he was able to come here for these 2 races? What kind of points would he be able to earn? What kind of race would he be able to set up? It was such a strong performance out of that 99, something we haven't really seen all year long per se. Obviously a couple times he's had his shining moments, but tonight was a really definitive night saying, hey, I came here to play, boys, and you best watch your ass, because he's out here to try to win these things, and he did a really good job doing that. But Cody McKinney, just like usual, on rails. Richie Coy, a couple points behind him now as they leave here tonight. This points battle between these two is going to be really, really tight, I think, between Cody McKinney and Richie Coy. And they're probably two of the guys you could definitively say are going to make that championship four. But hey, with the way these playoffs are nowadays, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, Cody and Richie for sure the two favorites, and I'm going to keep my eye out on the 88 TJ Bartel. I know he didn't get podium here tonight, but having those 4 straight podiums from weeks prior, like and late in the season, that's showing that he can do well at almost any track with a wide variety. That he got himself in podium in short tracks, intermediates, big tracks. He can do it. So I'm going to keep my eye on the 88 for sure. But we're going to close this thing out here tonight. First, I want to thank our producer, Dustin. I don't think he's on camera tonight, but I just want to give a shout out of all the great work that you're doing behind the scenes there. And all of our partners to the right-hand side of your screen right now. Give a quick shout out to them one last time. Full Throttle Sim Racing, the league that you're watching right now. Sign up. Get registered today if you want to join in all the fun action on Monday and Wednesdays here. Mach 1 Performance, the Monday Night Cup Series sponsor. It's a race fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners across all sorts of racing divisions. Find them at Facebook at facebook.com/Mach 1 Performance. Sim Racing Points, your league points management system to rule all. The best thing to use for your league, and it's free. So head over to simracingpoints.com and download that today. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. You see everything they have to offer you at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get all of your notifications just a fraction of the second faster. And purchase that item at iRacingIFlag.com and check out everything they have to offer for your sim rig. Butt Kicker, the ultimate feel from the race car, brought to your sim seats with the response system from the Butt Kicker. Head over to their website at thebuttkicker.com and check out everything they have for your sim rig as well. Team Watson Racing Setups, quality professionally built setups for all your asphalt oval needs. Find them at teamwatsonracing.com. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles, a hobby shop with a whole lot more. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, and you're going to find them at dustypete's.com. And then lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee, premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems at roastedgems.com. And that's it for us here tonight. You're going to catch us back Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. They're going to head to Darlington to complete their part of the season, or get their season rather started for the playoffs. And that's going to be a fun one. Do not miss. Until then, you guys, as always, stay safe. Get your nerd on.